Magnus Carlsen is the current chess world champion and one of the greatest prodigies of all time. In fact, he's so good at chess that he's won 125 games in a row without losing once. So what happens when the richest man in the world, Bill Gates, challenges Magnus Carlsen, the greatest chess mastermind, to a match? Bill Gates is no stranger to chess himself, boasting a 1200 rating, which is better than 75% of other players in the world. However, when he accepted this one-on-one challenge against Magnus Carlsen, it was evident he had no idea what was about to come. Just to put out some numbers, Carlsen's rating is around 2800. If you are rating 400 higher than someone, that pretty much means you'll win every time in a serious game. So to make things a little more interesting, Magnus Carlsen is starting with 30 seconds on his clock, while Bill Gates has 2 whole minutes. After starting the match and preparing their pieces, Gates opens with e4, a fairly common opening that tapers off in popularity as you reach the higher ratings due to the extremely strong Scandinavian defense, which Magnus plays a modified version of shortly. Magnus responds with knight to e6, protecting the other center square from Gates and ensuring he can't move another pawn forward. Bill Gates plays his next move, knight to f3. Looking to further develop his pieces, and Magnus responds by bringing his knight out to c6 in no time at all. The board has fallen into a mirror situation arising from Carlsen's Nimzovich defense. Having your pieces in the same position as the chess world champion might make you feel comfortable for a brief moment, but looking at the posture of both players, it's clear that Magnus feels a lot more comfortable, slouching forward with Gates in a more upright, rigid position. Taking a couple seconds to ponder his next move, Gates decides to develop his bishop, moving it to d3, to which Magnus Carlsen responds with developing his other knight to f6. Both players are fairly even in terms of power on the board, but this is where Gates makes his first mistake, pawn to d5, capturing the black pawn on d5 and offering a trade to Carlsen. While at a first glance it may seem good to trade pieces here, what this allows Magnus to do is develop his queen for free onto one of the 4 strongest squares on the board by putting the queen here. By putting the queen here, he is also simultaneously threatening the knight on f3 and the bishop on d3. Gates, however, does not take kindly to this and develops his second knight out to c3, threatening to capture Magnus's queen. Carlsen moves his queen away to h5, and a plan begins to form in his head at this point in time. Only 7 seconds have ticked down off Carlsen's clock, and Gates is clearly beginning to take his time to calculate some more complex moves in response. He decides to castle kingside. Normally, castling your king to safety is a great move. It secures your king from any risky positions and gets your rook into a strong position in the center, where it can be easily developed onto stronger squares. However, it's clear from the speed of Magnus Carlsen's moves that he's seen all possible outcomes of this match already. Not unlike Dr. Strange in the Avengers, Carlsen moves his bishop up to g4, and this is the beginning of the end for Gates. He responds by moving his pawn up to h3, threatening to kick the bishop away. What happens next may look like a blunder, but it's all part of Carlsen's plan. He moves his knight over to e5, offering to sacrifice his bishop to a pawn. Gates sees this as a great opportunity to capitalize against the world champion and happily takes the trade. Pawn for a knight, a trade that most players would take any day of the week. You can even hear Bill say, "Really?" as if he's surprised that Carlsen would make such an amateur mistake. Carlsen responds by taking the pawn with his knight. By now, the fate of the game is already sealed. However, it's clear that nobody except for the world champion currently sees it. Bill Gates moves his knight to f5, taking Carlsen's knight, which is at a first glance sitting there for free. However, in doing so, he also seals his own fate. Realizing there was nowhere else to move, Carlsen and Gates both shake hands and share a laugh. Fatal checkmate. I don't think we truly appreciate how good people at the highest level of competition are at their craft until they go up against a normal person. Truly amazing what a show an experienced competitor like Magnus Carlsen can put on.